Hi, everyone. It's Angel Morgan, your host for the Creature Code podcast. We are here at URPN Radio, and that is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in one of my favorite towns, New Orleans. I am so excited, as always, to be here. This is episode number 3, and I have an extremely special guest who is someone that is very dear to my heart. She has been with me on my paranormal adventures since I started. She's been a host of my live shows. She's a very, very dear friend of mine. We've worked together in many capacities. But one of the things I absolutely love about this woman is she is a paranormal storyteller, and she is also someone who works on location. She works with ghosts and all kinds of things, but recently she has had encounters with angels, and this is really exciting to me because this topic kind of goes into different things. I'm excited to hear what she has to tell us and who she is. So I am going to very quickly invite her onto the stage so we can get started. And for all our listeners out there, you're really going to enjoy this because she's so descriptive, such an amazing storyteller. All right, so let's invite Krista, Hauntingly Krista. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm amazing. It has been a rocking weekend. The spring is coming. All the locations are now not snow filled, that we have to fight to get into these haunted places, which is really great. So tell us all about you. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and especially so early on in your podcast. I'm honored. But my name is Krista. I go by Hauntingly Krista on the internet. So on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. And I tell a lot of ghost stories about haunted places, local haunted places that people may or may not have heard of being haunted before, urban legends, cryptids, spooky things. And I'm also a paranormal investigator. So I go to these haunted places and I bring in equipment and I use my abilities and I talk to the spirits and try to make some sort of communication, and I try to get answers or figure out their story so I can tell their story. And yeah, it's been a really big journey. That's just over the past 6 years, but with like being online and everything. But before that, I was a huge paranormal enthusiast. I've been a believer in the paranormal my entire life, and I've had experiences my entire life. So that kind of led me in the pandemic to just dive headfirst into all of this crazy, spooky world.
So it was the pandemic that actually brought you into the how did that happen?
So it was an interest of mine forever. Again, ever since I was a baby, I have had paranormal experiences. And then as I got older, I was questioning it more and I was interested. I was watching the Ghost Adventures and any other show I could get my hands on and just being fascinated with it. And then I was just always nervous to specifically come online and share it because I was like, oh, but people are going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think I'm weird. True. But
Now you wear it as a badge.
yeah, right? But like at the time I was like, this is not something I want to share. And then the pandemic happened and I'm isolated. And I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like at that point I had just turned 25. I was like, I'm in my mid 20s now. And I'm like, if I don't dive into this and like do what makes me happy, then like I'm gonna live with those regrets. So it was just kind of like a self-reflection moment during the pandemic, really.
And I think a lot of people had that because I know the
Yeah.
pandemic for me is what actually pushed me online. I was so afraid to do one-on-one readings and work with pets online and do all that kind of stuff. And when that hit, it's like you said, what do I have to lose? Right. And that was a really, I think, a very reflective, a very expanding time for some people. And it really was for a lot of people like us a way for us to kind of reevaluate how we wanted to present this work. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited that you did that. I'm so glad you jumped into this. So before we continue, I completely forgot. All day he's been sitting here on my desk. He's my co-host, and I think you've seen him before. I don't know if you've actually met him yet, but I'm sure you will. Oh, poor guy. But he was there. I completely forgot that Mr. Benny has been sleeping around my candles. So I think we will just say, hi, Mr. Benny. Oh, he's getting so much more comfortable in front of the screen. For you guys listening, he's just kind of chilling out in my hand, which I think is great. The boa is a very, very interesting. Ball python is a very, very interesting creature because he's very sacred in some countries, and this is actually going to lead in and segue in nicely into what we're going to talk about. And because they're so sacred, they're filled with light, and they're considered protectors. They're considered abundant. They're considered very lucky. So every time I bring them on the show, I'm sharing a little bit of sprinkling luck on everybody who's listening and everybody who is watching us right now. So now, in your paranormal adventures, you have seen many spirits and many ghosts, which we're going to talk about. But recently, you've had a new experience, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell us about that. And as you tell us about that, I'm just going to go put Benny back in his home.
Yes.
Please tell us about that. I would love to hear it.
So I recently, last month, I did an investigation just at a haunted hotel here in Toronto. And it's just a big historic home, like right downtown. And it's called the Gladstone House. And so I went there and I had a room and I was just doing a mini investigation there. I brought some of my equipment and I was just trying to make some sort of communication with the other side. And as I'm there and I'm trying to communicate, uh, my mom and I were there together, and we decided we were going to leave our room and just kind of explore the floor and check out the vibes of the space, as we do. And as we leave the room, and of course, it's a hotel, so it has like those tap key cards. Um, for the to enter and exit your room. Well, not exit, but to enter your room, because as soon as the door closes, it locks, right? So we leave the room, and as we're leaving, I'm recording as we're just kind of exploring, and you can hear the door behind me latch. And then we keep walking. We don't go far. We're still on the same floor. And this is a Monday night, so it's not super busy in this hotel at all. The only people we saw were a couple of staff, just kind of in the like common areas. They were cleaning up and everything else. So we're on the floor where our room is at, and we're exploring. I have my little spirit talker app out, and we're getting some things come through. Um, and as we go back to the room, we realize that our hotel room door is open, which doesn't make any sense because we heard it latch. And also, it was not fully open, but it wasn't fully closed. It was like um, kind of like when the door hits the frame and you just have to kind of push it to open it. It was like that. And we're like, that's really strange. And my mom is basically a non-believer. She's a skeptic. She just comes on these adventures to like support me. And
Sure.
so
Yeah,
she thought
that's
that
what
was
she
weird, and we
says.
kept trying to debunk it. And so we're like, we would open the door and like let it fall and close, and every time it completely shut by itself because it's kind of heavy. What is heavy? So it you push it open, or like push it to close it, and it just kind of goes swings with the weight of it, and it latches itself. And we could not recreate having this door be open like that. And it's strange because obviously you need that key card to enter. So that was like the first main instance in that space. And there was a couple darker things that were coming through the spirit talker device that I had. And so I thought that was strange, but I was like, oh, there's nothing bad here. Like, it's just, I don't know why this is saying
Coming
that,
through.
but there's
Yeah.
nothing bad here. Like, I could feel the energy. I felt protected, but it was something just felt weird. So then the door thing happened. We're now inside the hotel room, and I'm continuing um, the investigation. I have the device out, and as I'm talking, a name comes through on the device that I've never heard before, named Raziel, and it said it twice. And I did some research and I spoke to Angel, and we realized that Raziel is he's an angel, and I thought that that was fascinating because I've spoke to a lot of different spirits. I've had encounters with different kind of entities, darker, more positive, but I've never had angel encounters, and this one was weird because of like the darker things that we were getting out in the hallway and out in the common space. And
Wow.
then as we get into our room where that door was just open, now all of a sudden we're getting all like Raziel come through multiple times. And it's almost as if I was being protected or Raziel was there with me to guide me through that investigation. And I
Mhm.
thought that was super, super cool, especially because I mean, you hear about Archangel Gabriel or Michael. Raziel is such a uncommon one, at least
He
to my
is.
knowledge. So
He is
that was the
actually.
first I'd ever heard of it, and I thought it was really cool.
Well,
But
what's
yeah,
really interesting.
that was that experience.
Well, what's
You're on
interesting
mute.
about Archangel Raziel is he is a
I can't
warrior
hear you.
angel. Oh, you can't hear me? You can't hear me at all? Uh-oh. Oh dear. No, no, everything's there.
Are you on mute,
Anybody else? Have you guys lost me at all? Hello?
or
Hello? Have you guys?
is my thing muted? No, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all? Can you guys hear
Mm-mm.
me on who are watching? Oh dear. Let me just do this. Maybe that'll work. Can you hear me now?
No,
No? Uh-oh, we have a problem. Nobody can hear me. Can you hear me now? Is that
no, I
better?
can't hear you.
What happened? Maybe
Hmm.
this guy here. Is that better? Is that better? Is that better? Uh-oh. Okay. Um,
Technology.
is that better? Can
Gotta
you hear
love
me
it.
now? Can you hear me
Can't hear
now?
you. No.
Uh-oh, we have a problem. I don't know why you can't hear me.
Hmm. So fascinating. This is like the ups and downs of using live technology. I know with my live streams that I do on my own YouTube channel, um, you can never predict when there's going to be different little technical blips here and there. Because live is probably the most difficult thing to work with. I swear, just because of you really can't predict what is going to happen next on a live stream. And technology is so finicky too. But also, I feel, and that kind of leads me into another thing with technology is specifically with the spirit world. And I feel even if you're just talking about things with the spirit world or like strange things that happen in the spirit world, I feel like that can also make little like cricks and cracks in technology. And like that's why when we go for paranormal investigations, you want to be stacked up with batteries and chargers and make sure that you're all good to go because spirits can drain stuff just like that. And I don't know if this is necessarily spirit related, but it could be because we were talking about some pretty, not heavy, but like high energy, high vibration type of spirits. So, yeah. So while we wait for Angel, I know she's just trying to figure out the
I
back end.
get
Oh,
there. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Holy mother in heaven, thank God you're my guest. You're the guest, you're like my co-host. Oh my God. Oh, well, wait a second. I'm just okay. Because I started freaking out and I contacted the network manager.
Yeah.
We are good. Thank God for Krista. We are rocking it. Okay.
We are.
So I heard you talking and I heard you saying that these things do happen with our podcast. So you know what? Let's shift gears a little bit since we're there. You do have a podcast
Yeah.
of your own. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go back to the angels. Since we have this technical issue, we might as well kind of swing that way, and then we'll come back a little bit later. And I
Yeah.
apologize to all my listeners out there. I apologize to my viewers out there. I don't know what happened. So we are back now and everybody is good. So
Yeah.
tell us a bit about your podcast.
Yeah, so that is the podcast is actually a newer endeavor for me, but I've had my YouTube channel for a little bit, and that's obviously where I've posted my paranormal investigations and just other spooky things that I like to talk about. And so I decided that I was going to, and when I talk about spooky things, that I should just turn that into literally a podcast because I can talk and ramble forever. So I'm like, I may as well get a good quality microphone and sit down and and give it a go.
And
So
what is the, and where can we find that podcast?
Hauntingly Krista on YouTube
On
and on
YouTube. Okay.
Spotify. Yeah.
Okay. So YouTube, Spotify, basically all the channels that we would normally find it on in
Yeah.
social media. Okay. That's fabulous. Okay, so let's get back to the angel. Raziel is what we were talking about. So Raziel, I don't know if you know this, but he is a warrior angel. He is a guardian. He does protect. That is one of his things. But you know what I find ironic and what I find really funny is he's also an angel of animals, but war animals. So if you look up Raziel, I believe you can find this on the internet. This is just something I know and was taught earlier because I know Raziel very well. He is like, if you think of war horses, right, and canine dogs and that kind of thing, he protects the animals who are in those genres and those places.
Mm,
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. So now,
yeah.
since your encounter at the hotel, have you worked with him more?
Not to a deep degree. So I haven't had him come back to a paranormal investigation, if that's your question, but I've been talking to him.
Yeah.
So when I meditate, and I don't meditate often, but we had a conversation, and you suggested that I do that. So I've
Mhm.
been meditating more, and I've been talking to him in my meditations through my mind. So that's so far all that I've been doing. And I went on
That's a lot. That's actually a
one.
lot. Most people don't even do that much. How have you been finding those meditations? How have you been finding that connection?
The past month, almost month since it's been going on, I have been more elated like than normal. So I feel much more like motivated, and like I have all these like ideas in my head recently, and I'm just kind of like go 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 go. We gotta push through. We have some ideas. We gotta grow. We gotta build. Like that's just kind of like what my mindset's been. And I've always been that kind of person,
Yeah.
but I also am like a pretty procrastinating person as well. And I feel like I've been less procrastinating lately, if that makes any sense.
And it's really funny because people think that when we work with this kind of energy, that it's snap, it just happens. And it does. Sometimes it does. But for the most part, when we start working with these entities and these energies, we actually start watching it grow over time. I
Mhm.
remember the first time that I ever went through ceremony with medicine people in Peru. I was always told, oh, 2 weeks for things to happen and for a healing to be complete. And it literally was a year to the day that I went back to them, that it really took hold and really expanded and unfolded. So I now always expect a year and a day. That's always
Mhm.
been my thing, especially with ceremony, especially with working with these types, and especially right now with someone like you. And I know for those of you listening and those of you watching, that you don't know this about Krista, but she's also an intuitive. She's also very psychic. It's incredible some of the stuff that she's been able to pick up on. And I love this because now with Archangel Raphael coming into your life, you've been presented with this new angel, this new guide who can help you to even grow even more. And this is a
Mhm.
little tip or technique for everybody out there who works with this kind of thing or who wants to be on this path. Something for you to try as your next step. Before you open your eyes in the morning, your subconscious is wide open. Okay. And you can throw things in there and you can ask questions. It's when you're going to be the most connected in the day, because when your subconscious is wide open, it's a clear channel. So, what you can do, Krista, and anybody out there who's listening or watching, you can actually ask for Raziel or for whoever it is you guys work with to step forward and give you a message, and then expect nothing. Expect the unexpected. Really focus on your out breath and allow that out breath to take you into the other world. So when you open your eyes, it closes and you're in your conscious mind. It becomes a little bit more challenging. And when you focus on the out breath, you're focusing on the other world. The in breath is the conscious mind. So if you do that in the morning and ask for something or someone to step forward that's of the light, I ask and get permission for those of the light to step forward, or for Raziel to step forward, you're going to find that your communications will not only go deeper, but they will answer your questions. They will enrich your actual experience. And that's the level you're at now, because I've seen you do some funky stuff, especially with STs. You're really good with the STs. Can you tell people what the STs is?
Oh, yes. So the SDs or Estes method, it's experiment that we do with paranormal investigation, and we'll take a spirit box. So that, if you're not familiar, is just a very common paranormal device that scans through a radio stations at a really high rate, really high frequency, and it basically just comes out static, and because it's going so fast. And the theory is that spirits are able to manipulate that to pull out words so that we can hear messages from them. And so what the Estes session does is you plug the headphones, you put noise canceling headphones on into the spirit box, and that way you can only hear what's coming through the box. And we love to do this because it's very unbiased. We'll get someone to ask questions, and that way, if there are questions being asked and your answers are direct and instant and they make sense,
And you can't hear them through the noise canceling.
You can't hear them. Blindfolded also helps too, so you can really get deprived of your senses, but closing your eyes works as well. And that way, you're just kind of like fully immersed, kind of go into a trance-like state, and you're able to really connect with what the spirit box is saying. And like I said, unbiased. So any of those questions that are being asked, you don't know what's being asked because you can't hear it. So when it starts to make sense, it becomes more undebunkable.
It becomes evidential,
Yes.
right? And I've seen you in some of your clips. Like, you guys have to go to @Hauntingly Krista on YouTube, on Instagram. You have to, because she's got clips of this. Like, it's incredible the work she does. Now, I have to say though, Creature Code podcast, we know, also ties into animals. And you and I love that we're doing this today, because you and I just recently had an extreme experience with an SD session that just left me absolutely dumbfounded. And I mean, literally, I never experienced anything like this in my life. You tell the story, because I was the one asking questions. I was asked to be the one asking questions, oddly enough, to lead that session. And I found it interesting that an animal communicator was there. And you tell us why. You tell the story, because you're the storyteller.
So this clip will be eventually available online. So obviously, once it's out, you guys will see clips of it. You'll see teasers. You'll see the full shebang happen when it is available. But right now, we're in pre-production stage of the editing of it. So essentially, I got access to a train station that is said to be haunted. And when I found out about this haunted train station, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this by myself. I need to have some people with me. So I was like, who can I recruit? And I was like, of course, Paranormal XP and Angel. And Angel and Paranormal XP is another team. They have never worked together before. And something just told me that I needed them there. And so we all got together and we worked really, really well together. And for their video, for Paranormal XP's video, they wanted to do an ESTA session in this staircase because Angel had picked up on something back there. And I don't know how much specification we can get into with that until the video is released, but Angel picked up on something. And then we had the employee that was there with us verify with some of her higher ups if there was any accident on that staircase, and there was. So that's where we're like, okay, that's why we'll go here. We're gonna go to this
So we took that particular
staircase
location in the station to do these episodes with.
Exactly. So we're like, okay. And so that's what our mindset is going in to this session. Like, okay, we're gonna ask some questions, and we're gonna figure out more about this story, about who fell maybe, or who got hurt, whatever the case may be. And as it's happening, we Paranormal XP, Paige from Paranormal XP asked Angel to lead the session for their video. So Angel's now asking these questions. Angel, obviously an animal communicator. And again, when I chose Angel, I was like, well, Angel's a psychic being. I'd love to work with her. That's why I chose her. But I didn't think that animal communication would play such a huge part in a
Right?
haunted train station
Right? This
until we
was
got there.
completely blindsiding to all of
Yeah,
us.
all of us. And what was interesting as well, so Paige was under the Estes method session, and she is a cinematographer. So she was off doing at the very beginning, getting B-roll and clips of all the spaces in this in this train station. And Rhonda, Angel, and I are sitting around talking, and we're talking about history and like these different things. So we're talking about things that Paige has no
No
idea
idea.
about.
Nothing, nothing, nothing.
So she's under, and she's just rattling off words like one after another, and it's making sense. Like she is answering everything Angel is saying to a T. And then things flip. And we realize in that session that, well, Angel realizes that we're talking with an animal that had died on the property. And again, I don't know if I want to go into specifics just because I want to save the
Oh,
surprise
oh,
for,
we do have to, we have to give them something.
yeah.
We have to give them something.
So,
So
yeah.
this was a tragedy that happened
Yes.
in the early 1900s. And even if we tell you, it's still going to be outstanding to watch. But there wasn't an elephant, a
Mhm.
statue outside that we had seen, but nobody kind of put two and two together. And she said the word elephant. She kept saying things about being led and this and that, and she kept giving us details like scenarios. And I was talking to this elephant, and this poor elephant was hugely famous.
Mhm.
In fact, it came from Africa to England. And then from England, it was actually acquired by P.T. Barnum himself. And he
Mhm.
brought him to North America because he was a superstar. And they were actually at this train station where they had the circus tent. And they were unfortunately, leading him back to the thing. And he was hit by a locomotive. Now, having said that, what she picked up, that's the stuff that makes the magic in this clip. And we're not going to tell you what she got. We're not going to
Yeah.
tell you how that turned out, because you have to watch it, right? Because it was just, it made us emotional. I
Yeah.
think it made us emotional. For me, it was outstanding too, because P.T. Barnum, to me, was he was a legend. Yes, he was very unethical in some ways, but in other ways he was a grand performer, and he
Mhm.
did some really amazing things. But this whole story will evolve as we bring out the clips. You guys have to watch it. Like, this was
Yeah.
outstanding, don't you think?
It was truly like, and I'm someone who, like, I've done collabs with people before, and you do different clips and different sessions for each other's, and you share the same sessions with each other and all that stuff. But there has never been a time where, like, wow, I really want that footage for my video. And with this Esther session, I was like, I want that footage for my
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
I can't, like but I'm so excited to see how they put it together, because it was truly probably one of my favorite Estes sessions that I have ever been a part of, because the way that Rhonda, Angel, and I were looking at each other when these responses were coming through, we're just like, and yeah, our eyes are filling with water, and we're just like, we feel so sad. And like, everything is making sense. Like, she is answering to a T, and like
The
right away, and like
details.
the
The
details.
details were amazing. And it takes also a gifted intuitive to be able to pick up on this stuff
Yeah.
too, because you could see that she was trying to fill it in. So when you do this kind of work, it's not just about getting the words from the spirit box or the Estes or any of that. Sometimes you get one word and then you see the rest of it, right? You see the entire scenario. Like, she gave me one word, led.
Mhm.
And as soon as I heard that, I saw the entire thing. And it was afterwards that we went to research what really happened, and it floored me, right? It was just, it was such a fantastic. And can I tell them about 11:30, or should I just leave that one?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So at one point, I was like a little kid. I was totally like a little kid. So at one point, we're going on and on and on and getting these details. And all of a sudden, Paige blurts out 11:30. And I don't know what hit me. It was like something came over me. She says 11:30. I look at Krista. I said, look at your watch. It's 11:30. And she looked at her watch, and it was 11:30 on the nose.
Exactly.
We're just like, what the heckin' back? Like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. So there are some pretty outstanding things that happen on paranormal investigations. And I think that's one of the things I love about paranormal investigations is these machines have no investment in
Yeah.
what we're doing, right? Like it doesn't care one way or another. What is your favorite thing about paranormal investigations? Like what was your favorite thing about that Estes right there?
Oh my gosh. There's so many things about it. I feel like because it made, I think, okay, and I guess this kind of ties back to like how when I picked Angel to be a guest on this investigation, I didn't think that animal communication had anything to do with it, but I think it was my instinct being like animal communication will, because without Angel there and leading that Estes session, Rhonda and I are not animal communicators. We would have thought that we were just talking to someone that maybe died in the building, a person. Like we would not have put together the whole scenario like Angel did because she can communicate with animals like that, right? She's a professional. So I feel like having the right people there that have
Yeah.
the perfect mix of abilities, it creates magic, quite literally. And that Estes session was magic because
Yeah.
even though it was very sad, what we were hearing, obviously, it's heartbreaking, but it we were learning a story that was so like I mean, when do you get to talk to an animal like that? Not very often. I mean, you probably, but myself, not very.
No, I do not. I
No.
do not get to connect with historical figures like that. And
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that really floored me because, for me, it's about sharing, obviously, and to educate and to be able to share this story with others now, to educate them about what
Yes.
happened and who this animal was, and just about animal communications and even paranormal. I mean, this was just a package of excitement on so many levels. But it
Right.
also showed us too, I think, how emotional animals can be, what spiritual animals
Yeah.
can be, because we heard things that this elephant said to us that were just gripping, like,
Devastating.
and
Yeah.
it was devastating. And again, I get it. It was an accident, but to know evidentially that animals have these emotions, that they are real, that they are, it just, even now, it makes me shake with excitement and wonder.
100%.
Just incredible. So now, have you had encounters yourself with animals outside of this on paranormal investigations? Have you actually?
A couple of times there when I was at but not to the same degree. So when I was at the St. Thomas Psych Hospital and I was investigating that, um,
Ooh,
we heard dogs barking. Um, and at first we thought it would be dogs, like maybe guard dogs on site, but we were with an employee who like let us in because it's an abandoned building, or not abandoned, it's owned by the government, but um you don't usually get to go into those places. So we were with someone who worked there and was allowing us to be there. And so we learned from them that there wasn't any guard dogs on site. So we don't know where the dog barking was coming from. So that one was kind of strange. But I will never forget, I was at it seemed like such a small thing. And it was daylight. We had just gotten to this haunted manor, and it was this man named Dustin. He owns a banner in Woodstock. It's his house, but he has turned it into like this whole macabre occult museum. So he has all these different artifacts. It's very, very cool.
this is in
From like,
Ontario?
yeah, Woodstock.
Come on. Okay.
Yeah. Like, so from basement to attic, just full of stuff, and like a speakeasy in the basement, a Masonic lodge upstairs. It's really, 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 really cool. And he knows obviously all of the history of all these artifacts. He's collected them. So we had just met him. We're in his living room. He's giving us an interview on camera. And again, like I said, daylight. And out of the corner of my eye, I see like a black cat walk by his front foyer. And I look over because I'm like waiting for it to come back around because there wasn't much space and it seemed off. And so they noticed that I'm like looking off in the distance, and they stop the interview and they ask what's wrong. And I'm like, "Do you have a cat?" He's like, "No, I'm allergic." And I was like, "Well, there is a cat in your house because I just saw it." And he thought it was interesting because I don't remember if there was another person who had an experience with the cat. It might have been a medium he had in there before that said that there was a cat. I could be mistaken though. But the weird thing about that was he said that there's bricks on his house that I guess like when they were forming the brick, I don't know how the bricklaying works.
They
But
were laying the bricks.
yeah, so the brick was still wet, I guess, and a cat had walked by. And they still use those bricks, but there's a bunch of bricks on the side of his house with cat paw prints.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would energetically tie the cat to that space. Now, the
Yeah.
first one, though, I'm really interested to find out, was there a cemetery or church near the psych ward?
Um,
Do you remember? The reason I ask is because if there is a church or a cemetery close by to something like that, what will happen is when people first settle in an area, they will the very first person who passes in that settlement becomes what they call a guardian, or I can't remember the particular word for it. And they become a guardian of that cemetery, and they're there forever. That is their thing. So instead of waiting for a person in the settlement to pass, they will take an animal, and this is an unfortunate thing, but it's part of history in many, many cultures, and they will sacrifice a black dog, which is called a church grim, or a black shuck. And they're there to protect the space. So a lot of times at night, you will hear the church grim, or you will hear the black shuck of any cemetery or church that is close by. And again, because it's an old psych ward, I wonder if there isn't something like that in that area.
There could be. I think that there might be a cemetery. I don't know about a church.
Yeah, cemetery would be more likely, right?
Yeah.
Especially even for a guardian like that. There is another word for it. I just can't remember what it is. But that might be where that was coming from, just to give you kind of an idea of, because you're like, I don't know where that could have come from. That could have come from there.
Yeah.
And they would have been guard dogs. And they would have been guard dogs.
Guard dogs, yeah.
That actually would have made sense. Absolutely, for sure.
Cool.
So what are the next steps for you? What is it that you plan to do? What does future look like for Krista?
Like I said, like recently I have been just full of ideas. So to kind of give a little bit of background, for the past few years, shortly after I started kind of gaining some sort of presence online, I got involved with a team. And so that helped me kind of learn more. It helped me explore more. I got to do a lot of really cool things with a team, but it was time for me to leave. So I ended up leaving that team at the end of last year, and it has so far been such a good thing for me. So now, like and that doesn't mean I'm only doing solo things. Obviously, I'm working with you in Paranormal XP, and like there's another creator online that I worked with back in January, and I'll continue to work with a bunch of other people and just kind of like mix and mingle and network in this community, but like
explore and expand.
Yeah, explore and expand as Krista, not just random team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You're now Hauntingly Krista.
Exactly.
That is because who you are, baby.
for the past few years, I have been simply just, I felt like I've just been like one of three, one of four, one of two, like whatever it is. But I'm like, I don't know, I just came to a realization. I'm like, I am hauntingly Krista. And
Girl, you go.
I am going to do big things and I need to be my own investigator. And as scary as that was, because it was like, wow, like, some of these places I have to investigate by myself. But I literally, back in February, I traveled to Los Angeles by myself and I stayed in a haunted hotel, one of the most haunted in the city, by
Ooh,
myself. Like, so I'm like pushing. Recently, when we did the investigation, I did a solo where I handcuffed myself in a dark basement and I was terrified. But I'm like, I'm pushing the envelope, but not in like a bad way, like in a way that I have never done before
yeah,
to better myself as an investigator. So, what's coming up next for me is really just a continuation of that. And
inspiration.
hopefully that leads into TV shows. I would love to have my own show. That would be really cool. And just more, a bunch more paranormal investigation. I want to travel the world and I want to see the most scariest haunted places and try to make communication with some of the coolest spirits that will tell me whatever they want to share. Like
Absolutely.
that's next.
And right now you have some, it just popped into my head. Right now you have a really cool page for Hauntingly Krista where you talk about the most haunted places, I think in Canada, correct? Or is it North America? Because do you have some
Yeah.
places in the States as well, or is it just
So I mostly do Canada just because that's where I am, but I do touch on the US, and I've started to touch on a little bit of like other places in the world, but I'm gonna expand into more of that. So literally global haunted places. But I think I'm mostly known for Canada.
Yeah, it's such a cool page. Okay, I have to ask you something I've never asked you before because I
Yeah,
know we've worked with haunted items before, you and I, and that kind of stuff. Do you have any haunted items that you've worked with or that
I
you
have
that
I
you
have a haunted
caregive
mirror.
for? I shouldn't say own caregive for.
Yeah. I have a haunted mirror.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How did you come about this acquisition?
So my last job, I worked as a oh, that was a loud car. I worked as a social media manager at an agency, and so when I was working there, a client that came through um, recognized me. Oddly enough, they were a fan, and they were like. So they were my client for a little bit, and then all of a sudden one day they're like, do you want a haunted mirror? Because I just came across one. I was just gifted it from someone who antiques. Like, do you want it? I feel like you'd want it. I was like, yeah. So she shipped it to me.
Nice, nice. I love that. And I think that's what usually happens with us, right? Is like people like I was at a party one day and it was really, really cool because I wasn't going to go. This was a psychic party, so I was going to go there as a reader, but it was so far. I was so tired. I just come off an investigation for a weekend, and I thought, no, for some reason, I have to go. I have to go. And I went there, and it was really neat because we started talking about Ouija boards. And all of a sudden, she goes, "Oh," she goes, "Now I know why I chose you." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Oh, our family has had these Ouija boards forever, and I don't want them. I don't want." And I said, "Can I see them?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "You can have them." I'm like, "Seriously?" And one of them was a 1960s, 1950s haunted board. And the two other boards were these plastic boards. I'd never seen them before. So I thought, yeah, please bring them to me. And I love my boards. If anybody knows me, and as we continue this show, you will get to understand how much I love Ouija boards. In
Mhm.
fact, upstairs in my home, I have every window has a Ouija board that's either been blooded, haunted, or utilized by someone unique. And yeah, they just kind of went, here, take it. They just don't want to. They want to be done with it. Okay, so I like this question that Misha's asking. So let's answer this. What makes it a haunted mirror? Do you know the story behind it?
So it's quite a long story, but the long of the short of
We
it
have time. We
is
have time.
I just don't remember the full details off the top of my head, but it was owned by a family a long time ago, and the children in the house were having just random experiences like ever since that mirror came into their possession, and they just it I think it was, I want to say like the early 1900s. There isn't an exact time, but they estimate around there. And they were super religious, and they just had a feeling like this mirror has bad whatever, needs to go. And so they gave it to a friend of their family, and they started having experiences with it after a few years. So the thing with this mirror is it apparently takes a while for it to get to know you and feel comfortable. But again, like this person started having experiences. They said that they saw like a black mist come out of the mirror and like into the room. And then I believe then from there, the person passed away. It went to an estate sale, ended up in an antique shop, and then it got passed to the person who gave it to me.
How
So
supernatural.
yeah. So I think what makes it haunted, that's we don't know like the full origin. We just know
Has
people have had
has
experience.
anybody sat with the mirror and actually had a communication with the mirror to see what the story is or potentially could be?
Not like that. I brought it on a paranormal investigation once,
Mhm.
just to see if anything happened. We had stuff happen, but I brought it more as like a trigger object to
Yeah.
see if it would like invoke spirits in the space. So it could have been from the mirror. It could have been just something in the space I was at interacting with it. But I haven't actually sat down and spoke to the mirror before, and it hasn't done anything for me. I've had it now since 2023, so almost 3 years exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hasn't done anything for me yet.
See, that's the thing is I think for me, part of the joy of being a caregiver for haunted items, and I have many, I've kind of by osmosis, have many in my home. I find that I am now just recently sitting with each of my objects, learning their stories through them, and then going to validate if I can, right? Like, we know the story of the clown. He's a haunted clown from Mexico, and if you sleep with him, he gives you nightmares, and he apparently moves. So I chose one night to have him by my bedside, and I actually he didn't move, but the next day, I thought, oh, nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, I was on a call with a friend of mine, and the person who was with me said, "No, you sat up and you screamed at one point." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you never do that, but you did that last night." And he just walked away, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Okay. So yeah, this guy, these are the kinds of things I like to do, is actually experience it. And you know me, I have many experiences like that I can tell. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on haunted objects, I think. Yeah, so that was really groovy too. If you could do anything in the world as Ghost Girl, as Hauntingly Krista, you had all the money in the world, you could do anything you wanted, all the freedom in the world, you could jet set, you could do anything. What would Hauntingly Krista do?
I would, like, I would quite literally go everywhere. Like I just said, global. Like, I want to be everywhere, right?
Hmm.
I would probably just find, like, some of the most haunted places in each country
Country,
and
yeah.
just boom, 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 and probably just be on tour for like a year.
So, what is the scariest moment you've ever had as in this field in general, whether it's a paranormal investigation or just being at a haunted hotel? What was your scariest experience?
My scariest experience, it changes, but I always say so. My my most intense experiences always tend to happen with this. If you've ever heard of him, if you're watching this right now, you definitely need to. But his name is James White, and he has one of the most successful seance in Canada. He
He's
is,
actually going to be one of our guests. He is going to be one of our
yeah,
guests in July.
that's
Yeah, he lives with a wolf. And so we are going to have an actual wolf on the show. So yes, we know who James White is. He's one of my
okay.
favorite people. So anyway, go on.
Oh man, yeah. So whenever I've investigated with him, I have had some of the most wild experiences. My scariest one with him was when I had encountered a mimic at the back of a jail in a basement in Cornwall, Ontario.
Where was that? When was that?
That was 3, was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago now. It's been 2 years. We went to the SDG jail in Cornwall, and we were there with our team, and we were doing solos, and I had gone second, and as I was sitting at the back of this tunnel, I had like the little portal box, which is just like basically an amplified spirit box, if you're not familiar, and that was going, and I was trying to like listen, but it was kind of hard because it was echoey because it was like a cement tunnel that I was in. And so I'm sitting there by myself in the dark, and all of a sudden I hear footsteps coming around the corner, and I call out because I thought, okay, surely that's someone, that's James, that's someone on my team, like who's coming around the corner? So I go, who's there? And I hear what sounds like one of my teammates at the time, his voice, and he has a very distinct, like gruff voice. And so I was like, oh, haha, that's not funny, because it sounded like he said, get the hell out of here. And I was like, okay, we're joking around now. Like, this is not funny. I'm scared. Like, don't do this to me. And so I say, stop. And there's silence. And I'm like, hello? Silence. And then I start freaking out because I'm like, oh, so no one's actually there. And that was something pretending to be my teammate. So I turn on the light. I shout for everyone. James and Kelly, they come running first. The teammate that I thought I heard comes running in last. He was on the opposite side of the jail, upstairs in a kitchen, live on TikTok. And so there was no way that it could have been him. And I've talked about this with James actually a few times, because every time I go on an investigation with him, something strange and unexplainable happens. And that was one of my most terrifying experiences.
And there's actually a reason for that. You know, he runs the biggest seance in Canada. And what's really interesting is I really believe and know for a fact that he's what's known as a summoner. And so he can actually summon and connect with the spirits of whether it's ghosts, anything he needs, even as a mentalist, that deep subconscious connection as a summoner. So not that he would say that because of his logical brain, but he is. And I think that's what makes him a really valued part of any investigation, and what would bring it out. Because I think there was also one where it's like he was in the room and you guys had an ovulus and it kept saying demon or devil or something, and it was just like that kind of stuff. Like he could be a creepy dude. Yeah. But then in the same token, you yourself are an intuitive. So combining right, like you said earlier, you made mention earlier, you said when you have the right people on an investigation, magic begins to happen, right? So whether it's Paige, whether it's James, whether it's me, whether it's Rhonda, whether it's you, combining those people is definitely going to bring out the best in that location. And I think intention is a part of it. I really think that if you're there to poke the ghost, you're not going to get the same vibe or the same experience as I'm here to learn. I'm here because I want to know your story. Right. Don't you agree?
100%. Yeah. And that's got me thinking, like, just imagine you, James, Paige, Rhonda, me, all in a room together.
That's gotta happen. That's gotta happen. Okay, cuteness, aggression coming. Yes, yes, for sure. For those of you listening, that had to have sounded really weird right now, but wow, that's a really exciting thought.
It really is. Like, my wheels are turning.
Yeah, that would be really amazing. Actually, I would love to see that happen. I'm down. I'm there. I'm there. Okay, so we are now at 5 p.m. And at 5 p.m. in the last half hour, I usually will kick my guest, but I'm not gonna, because I am just loving this too much. And so what we're going to do is we are going to do the Ask Angel segment. And on the Ask Angel segment, you get to ask all the animal questions that you want. However, because we have Hauntingly Krista today, I think we're going to open up to human questions as well as animal questions. I don't normally do this, and I won't normally do this, but today, if you have questions about yourself, if you have questions about animals, you are more than please share it in the comments, or you can even come and sit with us live, I am going to copy the invite link and I'm going to put that in the comments. And if you have a question for us, because I'm always willing and wanting to encourage Krista's abilities too, please ask your question and we as a team will answer those questions. So let's see what we have here. Somebody actually said they would love to try a spirit box. I think a great episode that we could do is a spirit box session episode. I think that would be a lot of fun because you just actually turned me on to this new thing that I've never heard of, and it's a phasma box. So we know in the paranormal world that you are consistently going through the frequencies and you get the static and through the static, but this phasma box thing actually gets rid of a lot of the static, doesn't it? That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Let's see. Debbie Maricos says, Krista, you need to take Angel and both of you visit Rose Hall in Jamaica. Ooh. That sounds like a really so I love Jamaica. Do you know why I love Jamaica? There is this hotel that I went to, and they would make every single day for me these chocolate martinis. And it was so sexy. So now every time I go on a paranormal investigations afterwards, I like chocolate. Chocolate is very grounding for me. That could be an excuse. It really could be an excuse for me to eat chocolate, but it is. And so one of the things I would love to do after an investigation is literally have chocolate martinis, but I have never found one as good as Jamaica. So Debbie, that is a great idea. That is amazing. Hillbilly Herb says, I feel a lot of vibes around Hyde Park in Canada. Yes, maybe that would be a good place for me to do some amateur investigating. So open areas that are public are great to do amateur investigations or investigations because you don't have to get permits. You can take your equipment. You can have a bit of fun as long as you're, like I said, do it safely and do it from a place of respect. These are things that I really think are very important. And I know Hillbilly Herb, you would never do anything otherwise. Like he is so awesomely cool. It's stupid. So if you have any questions for us, please, on a psychic level, please ask your question. You are more than welcome. Lighthouse in Toronto Island. Have you done the lighthouse as one of your clips?
Not yet. I did like a little photo slideshow, but I actually haven't been yet, but I'm planning to this summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the lighthouse is really, really cool. So for those of you who are in the international listeners here, we have some really great locations, some very cool locations. And on top of everything else, we also have, I didn't set it up today. I forgot. I'm so sorry. We do call-ins on this show. So the next time we do a call-in, we're going to have to see what other locations around the world they have for haunted locations. I wish I'd set that up. I completely forgot. I'm still a newbie. I'm still learning. So forgive me, listeners out there. I do apologize. But we're going to have Krista back for sure. What are your favorite locations? Anybody out there, what is your favorite place to visit on vacation? And I want to ask Krista if that's somewhere she's actually thought about. Have you ever done, I know you've done a couple of things on like other countries. Have you ever done one on Stonehenge?
No, but I do know it's very haunted.
One of the places I would love you to research, and I just found out about it yesterday. So I'm Maltese. And Malta is apparently one of the main archaeological finds for where goddess worshiping has emanated from throughout Europe and the world. And so anyway, they have this thing called the Hippogeum. I believe it's called the Hippogeum. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And the Hippogeum is made so that it's an underground temple. And they say it's the oldest temple to date, the first temple in the world where people went to worship. And it is constructed that it is 111 hertz. So the frequency of love, divinity, and intuition figures I'd come from that island, right? And so this is something I think I would love to see one of the most haunted places in the world, because you sure as hell know that this oracle Hippogeum is somewhere where they've gathered spirits, and they actually think this is where they would do ritual in 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. So I would love to see that. I would love to go there with you.
Yeah, That'd be cool.
I'd love to go there with you. All right. Hillbilly says static filter. Ooh. Now, I have a question for you. If you were a spirit, a ghost, knowing everything that you know, where would you haunt?
Oh God.
There's a cool question.
That is a very cool question. I've never been asked that before. I feel like I would move around. I feel like I would just haunt like different places, like different houses that I lived in throughout my life. I'd haunt some of my favorite places to be, like just like parks and stuff, nature. I'd be like, I'd love to be like, obviously the classic like Lady in White. She's a hitchhiker on the side of the road. I want to do that and freak out some people. That's what I want to do.
Oh my God, that's so good. I'd be the Lady in White on the side of the road. Yeah. That's a brilliant answer. I'd probably just haunt my child. I would haunt my child. I would follow him around, right? Like we've had some really cool experiences. I can just see him going, "Mom, leave me alone." So that's probably what I would do. I would haunt my child. I think there are many parents out there who would probably haunt their children, but I definitely would. Let's see if we have any comments. Oh, we have some new people joining us right now. That's cool. I'd love to see some investigations. Investigations in Cripple Creek, Colorado. I went to a hotel casino there once and had to leave after 10 minutes, drove straight out of town, not sure what's there, but it's dark. So Cripple Creek, Colorado. Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of it, but Colorado, a very haunted state.
Is it?
The Stanley Hotel's in there.
Oh, is that where the Stanley Hotel is? Yeah. Now, you've been to the Stanley Hotel, yes?
No, I've been to the Shanley. It's very... close to name, but very different. So the Shanley Hotel's in New York, and then the Stanley is like it's in Colorado. It's where Stephen King stayed. He wrote The Shining about it. That's in Colorado.
Oh, is that okay? What has been your favorite location to date?
Oh gosh,
that's a hard one.
That's so hard because it changes.
Sure.
So a location that's stunned me, that like left me like, oh my goodness, like it's always locations that do more of like showing me paranormal activity that's more like in front of my, like with my senses as opposed to equipment. And that was the Stanley Barracks in Toronto. We got some stuff on equipment, but like it was the things we were hearing all around us and everything, as well as the Franklin House in Mississauga. I investigated that after hours. It's a bar now, and that one, like literally heard a bar stool moving downstairs by itself, just like scooting, being slid across the floor, and it was like, and like thuds that were happening constantly. It's when things happen like that, that's what makes me be like, okay, this is the most intense, because there are these things happening that can't be explained. And it's not like it's equipment and can be debunked by technology or whatever. Yeah. It's like actually happening, so those two stand out. And also the George Brown house in Toronto as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What was it about George Brown house that really
So I saw my first full body apparition there.
Wow.
I'm used to seeing shadow figures. I've seen like a couple like little like almost like mist-ish things. But I saw like a solid figure in the George Brown mansion, and it had like in color, and that was the creepiest thing because it was like running on its hands. It was weird.
Wow. Now you and I went to the States. This was last year, right? And there was a place that you and I actually, we got to hang out. We actually slept in the rooms there, in the same room. There was like one bed over here and one bed over here kind of thing. And it was a haunted dolls room. Was that Wildwood? That wasn't Hinsdale. That was Wildwood.
It was right? Wildwood, yeah.
Yeah, that was Wildwood. And I thought that was an amazing experience because At first, I thought I didn't experience everything. Like it was a good night. It was an amazing
Yeah.
night. Well, one of the things I realized afterwards, and I still think about it today, and I don't know what your experience was in that room, but my childhood stuff kept coming up. And I kept dreaming about being at my home as a child, and it kept
Right.
bringing up all of these things that I'd never really thought about before. And I realize now that the dolls were actually connecting and trying to bring that stuff up. What was your experience in that room?
Honestly, I both of the locations that we did, Wildwood and Hinsdale, I feel like we need to go back to, because
Mhm.
I don't. There was just like I just feel like we didn't get the experience out of it that we, or at least from myself, that I,
It could have been a richer experience.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
believe.
with
I
the
would do things
Wildwood,
differently.
it was cool. We, interesting enough, like when, because we did sleep basically in the same room, just like because I was like in a little alcove, that was in a bed beside the doll room, and when I was looking at the sleep cam footage, because we had us recorded sleeping, the sounds that were happening while we were sleeping, there was a like huge bangs coming from upstairs. No one was upstairs. The only other person there was on the main floor.
Ah, see, I didn't hear that.
Uh-huh.
I didn't
Yeah.
get to hear that. Wow, I didn't
I'll
realize that.
send
Yeah,
you the
thank you.
clips.
I remember you saying something like that, and I was just like, I was dead to the world. They
Yeah.
took me to a whole different place. Okay, so now we have a question here from Marie-Claude Desrosiers. I love Marie-Claude. She's so wonderful. Do you see the connection that my daughter's dog Percy has with me? Please and thank you. Um, I know what I get, but I'm gonna give it to you to see what you get when you tap in. If you get anything, if you don't, that's okay too. Percy is her daughter's dog, and she wants to know what her connection is to Percy, and Percy's connection is to her. What do you get?
Connection between Marie, God, her daughter's dog.
I know for
Um,
me, I like for me, this dog feels very joyful.
yeah, my instinct is like almost like what's the word? Um, like like a peaceful
Mm.
older man is like the vibe I'm getting.
Yes. And you know what's really interesting? What I like about this dog is he looks at Marie Claude and it's like they work together in the house,
Mm.
right? It's like my right hand. You know what I mean? It's like I love that. And I get that too. I do get the idea that the two of them are not that you're old, Marie Claude, but like the matriarch and the patriarch of the house, so to speak. So yeah, I got that too. I love, but there's a happiness, a joy when she walks in the room.
Mm.
He kind of lights up. There's a nice safe that he feels in this home as well. So you guys have created some beautiful ground for this animal as well, which I really really like. Yeah, I really, really like that. Oh, I like this one. Let's go to this one now. Hi, Angel. Does my pony Crumbs, what a great name,
I love that.
have any messages for me? She passed away, oh, 10 days ago. I'm so sorry. This energy feels very present for me still. So this pony has definitely, I do get that they've crossed. I also get that there was a dog or some animals there when it crossed. So it wasn't alone when it crossed. But what's really interesting is it's still present. It still wants to know that you're okay. So one of the things I would love to have you do, Lindsay, is I would love to have you kind of sit tonight quietly and just say, look, I'm okay. You know, I love you. You can come and visit whenever you want, but I'm okay. We're going to be okay. And you can go. And literally, I hear to your horse family, to your family. This is a really beautiful crossing. You guys did a great job. It was the time of this particular animal. The contract was fulfilled. I love this animal for you, but you also need to know that it's going to bring another animal to you, another horse to you. So if you're not expecting to get another horse, get your head around it because it's there. Okay. Krista, what do you feel?
Um, this one I'm not too sure.
That's
I think
okay.
it's for me personally when it's too recent. This is something I've noticed with human spirits too. If there's too recent of a passing, I find it really hard to connect.
Yep. Yeah,
which is
and that's actually a very valid point. So sometimes animals need that time to cross over. And as I said, it's still very much here because it needs to know you're okay. So this is why I like working with other intuitives as well, because what they pick up on and what I pick up on make the full picture that we see. And she said it. She says, you know, I feel like this animal needs time to cross over before I can connect to it. And I'm saying, yeah, you know what? I can connect to it maybe because I'm on just a little bit of a different vibe. And that would be it, which is amazing because she validates for me that, yeah, this horse is still very new and still very much fresh in their ability to cross. Okay, so here's another one. My dog passed away 4 months ago. So I'm so glad they're together. Oh, so Lindsay said, okay, so remember how I said there was a dog there and other animals? So she said that the dog had passed 4 months ago. And literally that's what I got is, hey, dude, it's all good. It's okay. Come on over. Come on over. So I'm really, thank you for that validation, Lindsay. I love the fact that you said that. And just so you know, the dog is in a really great space, crossed over well, kind of like almost like the leader of the pack of the other animals that are there, and other animals being lineage animals and that kind of stuff. Misha says, dang, I have to say goodbye. Oh, bye. Come back next week. And next week, we're going to have a fun show too. We're going to have Rodney and Juno, and we'll tell you a little bit about them. But before we go, I wanted to get where people can find you, Krista. Where can they find Hauntingly Krista? Tell us.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Hauntingly Krista, Krista with a K, and on YouTube, Hauntingly Krista, again, Krista with a K. Threads, same way. Facebook, same way. That's, and then you can also see me on CBC Gem. I was in a couple episodes of Ghosting, so the ghost hunting show. So that's really fun. You can see me on Haunted Hospitals, on TNT.
You need a website.
I had one, but there's technical difficulties, so I kind of blipped off. I should get back up on that.
You should have a website. At this point, I think it'd be so brilliant to have one, but I think all of those social platforms are going to be fantastic for you. If anybody wants to connect with her, this is the way to connect with her. And you can see that right down here if you're watching us on any of our platforms, which is YouTube or Facebook, or even TikTok. At some point, we're going to get you up there too. So yeah, this has been an amazing time to be with you. Thank you so very much. But before we go, I just had a last question. If you had anything to say to people about if they want to get into paranormal investigations and this kind of work, what would you tell them? What would be your parting wisdom?
Just do it. Just do it. Don't care what anyone thinks, because there are going to be people that think about, they're going to be people that have so many opinions about what you do in the paranormal space. People, again, like, they think you are weird, think you're crazy, whatever. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think that they need to paranormal investigate with someone else, but you don't need to. You should always be safe. And if you're going to go to, like, maybe an abandoned place or somewhere that may be a little bit heavier, then try to bring someone with you. But a lot of these, like, that's a very, like, small amount of places. Most of these places you can check out by yourself. And, like, I feel like that's so important, because I've gotten that question a lot. People are like, I want to do this, but I don't have anyone to go with. Just do it. That's how I started too. That's what I'm doing now. If you are passionate about this space and you want to investigate it, you don't need anyone else. You just need your interest in it, and your soul is set on fire to do it and to make those communications. Do it for the right reasons. Don't dabble with, don't poke the ghost there, and go in and just be curious and have fun.
And remember too, I think this is really important too, that people don't realize, is locations call to you. Right?
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I pick the locations anymore. I feel like the locations pick me, right? And the train station is a perfect example of that. And I always say that I always go to the places that I'm needed. So if you're feeling a draw or call to something, really sit down and say, how can I work in that? Do I need a second? What equipment do I need to bring? What do I need to do to make this successful? Not just for me, but for the spirits that are going to be invoked, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate and love you. I will talk to you very, very soon. And yeah, so you have a great day. Okay. All right. We'll talk to you soon. We're going to have you back.
Yes, indeed. Bye.
Okay, everybody, that was Krista Merrick, Hauntingly Krista. She is just such an amazing human being, one of my favorite human beings. Next week, we're going to have Rodney Kaufman, Corporate Canine Therapy, and we're going to be talking about his new therapy dog, Juno, what Corporate Canine Therapy does. This is going to be a really important segment, because animals in working with therapy help humans, but how does this help the animal, and how does this affect the animal? And this is a conversation Rodney and I have had on different programs, in fact, and it's going to be really, really exciting. Now, if you guys want to know more about me, Angel Morgan, please, I love the follows on Instagram at Raising Energy. You can also find me at my website, raisingenergy.com. And exciting news, because as of Wednesday, we have a whole new look. This is something we've never done before, a huge overhaul of our website. So what you see today is not what you're going to see Wednesday. So raisingenergy.com, huge launch happening around that. If you want to see me as an animal communicator, it's angelmorganpetpsychic.com. I also have a blog, mypsychiclifestyle.com. Yep, I'm absolutely everywhere. And on top of that, if you're in the Keswick, Newmarket, Aurora area in Canada, I'm doing a show May 9th. I am coming to the States this year too, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be at the New Orleans Paracon. So that's neworleansparacon.com if you want to get your tickets. It's the inaugural Paracon Paranormal Conference. You can't even believe what's going to be there. I mean, we're talking vampires, we're talking witches, we're talking animal communicators. That's me. We're talking exorcist priests. We're talking anything that you can imagine in this world. They're going to be there, and it's run by some of my favorite people. So please, if you want to meet me, if you want to meet them, come out to the New Orleans Paracon. Also, I have a new channel thingy that we're about reviewing films and that, called Real Wicked Film Talk on YouTube as well. Just 15-minute segments that we do. That's really fun. All recorded stuff that is just outstanding. So you can find me everywhere. But if you really want to know about me, it's Instagram at Raising Energy and raisingenergy.com. You guys are phenomenal. And thank you again, UPRN Radio. 107.7 in my favorite town, New Orleans, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast. This is an absolutely exciting experience for me to be a part of this particular network. This network has been running for over 25 years. Thank you, Michelle DeRochier. She works with the network as one of the station managers. Thank you, Joe. Can't say your last name, so I don't want to make a mess of it. Thank you, Carol Ann, who is a wonderful host. And I'm actually going to be on her show this Wednesday, Ethereal Encounters. So don't miss that. Wednesday, I'm going to be a guest. But she started everything for me. She's the one who went to Michelle and said, hey, listen, you know what? You have to have this woman as one of your hosts. So I feel exceptionally lucky in my life. And I think that's part of it, is gratitude. So here's a little tip for everybody, because I always leave you with a wisdom. I always leave you with a tip. I ask and give permission to all those of the light. Thank you. With gratitude, bring me abundance, bring me more paranormal investigations, bring me the opportunities that light up my heart. Guides, guardians, angels, archangels, all those guys can only intercede in your life so far. But if you give them permission, I ask and give permission to all those of the light, don't even have to know who it is, X, Y, and Z, all of a sudden you're going to see your life begin to change. And really, that's what this is all about. It's to enhance our lives. It's to make them better. It's to be the best we can be. So you go out there and be the best human you can be. You go out there and be the best friend, best mom, the best daughter, best son, but also the best paranormal investigator. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Okay, there we go. Thanks, guys.